around the world. I'm your host, Xinyu Zhang. I'm pleased to have 37th District Virginia Senator Dave Marsden on the side co-host with me. And also I'm having the Communications Director for the Ready for Hillary and the author of Ready for Hillary, Seth Bringman, as a guest. Senator Marsden, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Well, I can. I'm Senator Dave Marsden, and my district is here in Fairfax County. It runs from the Prince William-Loudoun County line all across the central and some of the northeastern parts of the county up to Lake Barcroft in Annandale. So it's a big, long district, about 200,000 of our citizens.
Okay, I'm proud that you're here because Senator Marsden was the first Virginia senator on my TV show at the very beginning. And also he's in the Virginia leadership for Hillary for president. That's what we are here doing. Also, I'm even proud that we have Seth Bringman with us. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us your role in Hillary's presidential campaign?
Yes, it's good to be with you. I'm Seth Bringman. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and for 2 years leading up to Hillary's campaign, I got to be the communications director for the Ready for Hillary movement, which was such a pleasure meeting supporters across the country. And right now, I am a volunteer in Columbus organizing supporters across the state for Hillary for America in this very important battleground state of Ohio. And people are very excited about Hillary's campaign and a potential Hillary Clinton presidency.
Senator Dave Marsden asked me what means the behind the campaign, before the campaign, release the idea campaign for Hillary. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So across the country, actually two people in Northern Virginia near the senator's district decided that with all of the enthusiasm across the country for Hillary Clinton, there should be a mechanism, there should be organizing, there should be list building, and we should get ready because people were so excited and they were ready to get to work. So we started organizing. We formed a super PAC called Ready for Hillary, and across the country, by the time that Hillary had declared her campaign, 4 million people had signed up and said, I'm ready for Hillary. And then on day one, when Hillary announced her decision to run, they were ready to help her win.
Do you have any comment on that?
Well, yeah, that's it's a great idea to get grassroots enthusiasm for any campaign going, even before the candidate themselves announces. It creates that anticipation, and I have endorsed and support Hillary Clinton for president, and I'm very excited about the potential that she would bring to this country to keep us on track and get us to a point where our economy is even stronger and our position in the world even better. And Seth, I wanted to ask you a question. A lot is made about Hillary being the first woman president, or is that the most important thing for you, or is it the fact that she might have more experience than any other of the candidates involved in this campaign?
That's a good question.
Yeah, very good question. Certainly for me and a number of Hillary's supporters, it is a major motivating factor that we could potentially make history, shatter the glass ceiling, and elect the first woman president. We also know that Hillary Clinton is the best qualified candidate, best person of either gender to be the next president of the United States. Perhaps no one has been more prepared to be president than Hillary Clinton is to be our 45th president. So yes, it is something that a lot of supporters are very excited about. I talk to folks here in Ohio about that every day, but we know also that she's the best qualified person, whether if it's domestic or foreign policy, to be the next president.
How did you get into the politics? I'm curious.
Yeah, I was in college, and actually the first time I voted was in the 2000 election, which was Bush versus Gore. And as you both know, that was a very controversial election. I actually wasn't very interested in the election until after Election Day. And then I saw the voting and the recount in Florida and got really interested, and then started to get involved on campus, and then took a couple internships and got involved in campaigns here in Ohio and organizations in DC. And in 2008, I was on Hillary's campaign in a few states across America, and just took one campaign job after another, and met people and got involved. So that took me to the Ready for Hillary position, and now back to Ohio, where I'm working as a consultant and a volunteer. So it's a very, very exciting life to be involved in politics.
Yeah. There's a young man who is running Hillary Clinton's campaign who is near and dear to me. He was my first campaign manager.
Oh, wow.
Back in 2005, Robbie Mook. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've worked closely with Robbie yet. But,
I have. I have. In 2008, I worked very closely with him in Ohio and in Indiana, which were two states that Hillary won, and he had, certainly a loyal following that I was a part of, and a great motivator, great manager. So you were lucky to have him as part of your, initial team.
I sure was, and what's interesting is to watch as he's been brought on board as the official campaign manager, is to see some of the same things he did in my campaign, the same things he stressed, where we took a seat that was drawn in 2000 for a Republican. And in 2004, that Mark Warner had only won in his governor's race by 1% in 2002, and in 2005, we won that district by 18 points. And it's not surprising that your efforts getting out on the grassroots and getting out to people is critical, because that's what he did in my race. He stressed field work first. Before we even got into heavy fundraising, and that was, I think, the key to bringing a big victory in that campaign.
That's absolutely right, and I know that Hillary for America is engaging grassroots supporters across the country. It's a grassroots effort. Here in Ohio, we are all volunteers, so we take that responsibility very seriously, whether if it's organizing debate watch parties or getting people signed up at events across the state. That's always been Robbie's approach. It certainly was when I worked for him, and that was the approach that we took with Ready for Hillary. Let's engage grassroots voters across the country. So even, 2.5 years before almost Hillary declared her campaign for candidate for president, we were already organizing.
You said Hillary Clinton is the most qualified president. So what are important issues you believe Hillary can positively impact most on?
I think the most important issue is the economy. When you talk to voters and talk to families across the country, President Obama has done so much to help us, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves for digging us out of the big hole that we were in back in 2008 when he became president. We made a lot of progress, and there's a long way to go still. And Hillary Clinton would be the candidate that would help raise wages, whether if it's raising the minimum wage or paid family leave, profit sharing for companies. She believes in helping the government help people. She's always been someone that has looked out for the best interests of middle-class families, and I know that she would do that as president.
Yeah, I remember she said, I'm really good at negotiating with people, but I will not lose my ground. So that's right. It's her.
That's critical, and in all of our Democratic candidates, this year, we recognize the fact that this country is in pretty good shape right now. We certainly have some issues in the Middle East and in foreign policy. There's no question about that. But our latest jobs report was fantastic. Unemployment is holding at 5%. Barack Obama is going to turn over to the next president, no matter who that is, an economy in pretty good shape and an ability for that person to put forth a policy agenda that'll move America forward without having to dig it out of a hole first, which is what President Obama certainly had to do. Yep. And I've always felt that Ms. Clinton, because of her years in the White House, going through crisis after crisis, and then her time in the state Senate, where she proved to have worked very well with other senators, and then her stint as Secretary of State makes her the most well-balanced and complete package in terms of person to be president. How do you, Seth, look at her White House experience as First Lady, and how do you think that affects her ability to be president in her own right?
Absolutely. back in 1991, when then Governor Clinton started his campaign, you just had this notion, you just had this feeling that this woman was going to do big things for the country, that she was going to be a first lady that would take an active role in policy, you know. And for instance, as first lady, everyone knows that she fought for healthcare reform, and the initial effort did not pass. What less people know is that she got right back up and worked hard and worked across the aisle and helped get the children's health insurance program through the Congress. And that was a major accomplishment of hers as First Lady. You know, as Bill Clinton's partner in the White House, as someone who took an active role in helping women and children and families across our country, you know, there's no better person in it, as you said. First Lady, United States Senator from New York, Secretary of State. She's absolutely ready to be the next president of the United States.
We are on the Channel 10 on the program Lens on the World. I'm having Virginia Senator Dave Marsden on the Channel 10 with me, and the author of the Ready for Hillary, Seth Bringman, with me. If you would like to participate our program, please call in 571-749-1142. We're going to have 1 minute left for first section. So we are so glad you are following us program. Please watch the program tonight, 7:30 p.m. Also, we're going to talk about Seth Bringman's journey for Hillary's presidential campaign for the next section. Thank you for following us with me.
Art, a universal language, an expression of culture, of self. And now, thanks to Empowered Women International, a way for emerging and established immigrant and refugee artists and artisans to find hope to earn a living while enriching the lives of all of us. Empowered Women International, making a better America every day. For more information on Empowered Women International's educational programs or to make a tax-free donation, contact cfrip@aol.com.
You'd think it would be easy to tell which kids have trouble with their eyesight. But that's not always the case. Even though 1 in 4 children may have a vision problem, eye doctors tell us the symptoms aren't always so obvious. We do know that 80% of all childhood learning is visual. And without good vision, kids can have trouble learning to read and may fall behind in school. For clues on how to spot the real-life signs of childhood vision problems and what parents can do, visit checkyearly.com. A public service message from the Vision Council of America and Reading is Fundamental.
Welcome, Lens on the World. I'm having Virginia Senator Dave Marsden on Channel 10 with me, and author of Ready for Hillary, Seth Bringman. If you would like to participate our program, please call in 571-749-1142. Okay, we are curious. Have been 2 years on the journey for Hillary presidential campaign. Are there any interesting fun story you would like to share with us?
Oh my gosh, so many. As part of Ready for Hillary, I had the chance to drive the Hillary bus, as we called it, which was a wrapped RV, and we went to 45 states across the country, primarily to college campuses, signing up young folks. So you can just imagine the reaction when even a year before an election, a year and a half before an election, here comes a big Hillary bus down the highway. It was quite a good time, and actually I wrote a book about all these experiences, a book called Ready for Hillary, which is available on Amazon. 45 states worth of experiences. There were certainly a lot of stories to tell. Just one quick one. I was in rural North Carolina and not doing anything wrong driving, and I didn't know why, but two sheriff's deputies all of a sudden started following me with their lights flashing. So I pulled over, really nervous, thinking, what did I do wrong here in this Hillary bus? And as it turned out, these guys were just bored and wanted to say hello and take some pictures of the bus. So that was, just one of many stories across the country.
I think we have that picture. This looks so cool, but I just imagine you drive on the bus. What are the struggles you faced during the campaign? Do you consider the oil, whatever? I'm kidding.
Well, we ran out of gas once. We, bumped a parking meter once. Those were just, we were on that journey, and it was our responsibility. There you go. There's the picture of me in the driver's seat. I was not actually operating the vehicle at that time. That was at one of Hillary's book tour stops, I believe, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So as Hillary flew across the country on her book tour, we chased her across the country in the bus. So getting from point A to point B quickly enough was sometimes a challenge. And then when Hillary campaigned for 2014 Democratic candidates, we chased her around the country then as well, making sure that, everywhere she was, we were signing up supporters as well. So it was an incredible experience with some challenges, but mostly fun along the way.
Yeah. Well, Seth, as you talk to people around the country, it's interesting right now on the Republican side, the candidates with the more executive experience, the former governors, don't seem to be doing as well as those who are the outsiders, if you will, followed closely by some of the first-term senators that are out there. What did you pick up from people on the road as to what they were looking for in a president, and why Hillary Clinton fit that picture for them?
Well, I think they're looking for someone who can do the job. I can't speak for the Republican primary electorate and why they're supporting someone like Donald Trump. But when I talk to Democrats and young people, old people of all stripes, all walks of life, they were looking for someone who could do the job, someone who was ready to get in there and be a champion for the middle class and fight for things like student loan reform, for instance, which was an issue I heard over and over across the country at college campuses, something that Hillary has fought for. So, to just say one more time, I think that voters are looking for someone that can do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make a comment for the photos. You are on the bus. This looks so cool. But I still want to emphasize, what is your favorite part being part of Hillary campaign?
Being part of an effort going all the way back to 2007 to work to elect Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States, it has been such an honor meeting her supporters, finding out how many people haven't even met her, but whose lives she has touched through her work, both domestically and across the world, being a role model for women and girls, and really being someone who embodies, an American spirit and an American optimist, and working to make sure that we continue to make progress in our country, whether that's on women's rights or whether that's on improving the economy for the middle class. She has inspired so many people, and that's the biggest honor that I have had, is meeting thousands and thousands of supporters in states across the country who really believe in her values and want her to be the next president.
Wow, it's your work. It's worth it. It's a great
Absolutely.
honor. So I also learned you have done a book. It's Ready for Hillary. I'm
That's
curious, have you faced any challenge while you're writing the book for the Ready for Hillary?
Well, I had the opportunity to work on that book for about 2 years, actually, before I put it out there. So the entire time I was with Ready for Hillary, I was taking notes and writing down stories and making sure that, you know, what had never been done before in terms of organizing millions of grassroots supporters before a candidate even announced their candidacy, that this very unique movement, that this very unique effort was documented, and that her supporters had a place in political history. So that was the thinking behind the book. I had never written a book before. At first, it was just a collection of stories that I did for myself, and then family and friends and fellow Hillary supporters encouraged me to put it out there. So I got that book on Amazon.com. I hope folks read it, and you know, it's a lot of stories, a lot of anecdotes about both the challenges on the bus tour, but most importantly, the story of Hillary's supporters across the country.
Yeah. Well, what makes me feel really good about the effort that you've been involved in, and you and the other folks with Ready for Hillary, is that that's a unique thing about this country. You know, people all the time are saying, well, what can I do? It really doesn't matter. My vote doesn't count. What I do is not important. And the fact is you got out there early, and you made it happen. You got the effort going for Hillary Clinton, and that's not something that happens in other parts of the world. And I think people need to appreciate the fact that there is something that you can do to get involved. You don't have to be paid. You don't have to be hired by somebody to do that. If you feel it's important, you can get out there and make a difference. Did you run into a lot of young people out there who caught that enthusiasm, who said, who got it, who said, yeah, I can get involved, I can make something happen, I can be part of this?
Absolutely. And this was before there was even a candidate or a campaign, and that was part of what was so special about it. The young people across the country, we went to, with the bus, more than 60 college campuses and gave out posters that students were putting up on their dorm room walls and in their fraternity and sorority houses, and people were so enthusiastic, even in parts of the country where I didn't realize Hillary had such strong support. The support was definitely there. And you're absolutely right. What was at the core of the Ready for Hillary movement was involvement and participation in democracy, in encouraging Hillary Clinton to run. You know, these supporters took the reins and took, you know, presidential politics into their own hands really early on and said, you know, I'm not going to wait to get involved. I'm going to get involved right now. I'm going to encourage Hillary to run, and you know, if and when she does that, we're going to be ready to help her win. So it was just such a special effort to be a part of.
Yeah. Do you think, Seth, that young people today, you know, every generation is a little bit different. They call this, you know, the millennial generation, that they're not as inclined to go join the Republican Party, go join the Democratic Party, or get involved in that way. I think they like to, Senator Mark Warner calls it the gig economy. They like to get involved in ways that suit their lifestyle, that suit their way of doing things. Is that what you found out there?
I think that's right. I think that young people might not identify as such with the Democratic Party. However, they definitely share our values, whether if it's marriage equality, or whether if it's women's choice and women's health, or whether if it's immigration reform. You know, the Republicans have really tried to take our country backwards. And if you listen to what they're talking about, it's all, you know, repeal this and turn back that. And the Democrats are, and certainly Hillary Clinton is, trying to move our country forward, and that's a message that resonates with young people. Certainly young people care about issues like student loan reform, and they're going to support the candidates that share their values. I think that the Republicans have done themselves no favors with how they talk about women or how they talk about the LGBTQ community. And Democrats are definitely more in line with young people and their views and who they want to support.
Yeah, one interesting thing this year in terms of in efforts to get people registered to vote, we had a precinct, which was George Mason University, that the increase in registered voters there was over 500% this year.
Wow.
So I think there is some growing interest that all of the primary activity, whether it's Republican or Democrat, has gotten young people, I think, fired up a little bit to get involved. We went to a meeting of young Democrats at the George Mason University campus, and the room was packed. I've been there in previous years where it's 10, 12 people. This time we're talking, 70, 80 people crammed into the room wanting to hear what's going on. So it's definitely a real change in what's going on with young folks here in this country, and I sure do hope they get out to vote.
Absolutely, I hope the same thing, and we see the same trend across the state here, whether if it's the Ohio State University, my alma mater, Miami of Ohio. When you organize and you resonate and you talk about the issues that matter to young people, they'll get out there and they'll participate. And that's something Hillary Clinton is doing in early states and across the country, making sure that young people feel like candidates are connecting with them and talking about the issues that matter to them. And if that's the case, if that happens, if candidates do talk about issues and really connect with young voters, they will participate in our democracy.
Mm-hmm.
We're glad that you bring this point. So first of all, I wish your book is a big seller. And also, I think the better start, we encourage people who don't interested in politics, then starting read your book first. I'm kidding. We have 1 minute left, but where the viewers can find you if they want to keep up with you for your life or your work. Tell us your website, where they can follow you.
Well, sure. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm very active at Seth Bringman. That's Seth Bringman. That's how to the best way to keep up with me is certainly on Twitter. I am there on tweeting about Hillary, tweeting about life, tweeting about college football, just about every single day.
Thank you so much. You have done a wonderful job. We will keep in touch with you. Thank you for watching.